Hey guys, welcome to DriveWay Liberty Podcast. I am your Uncle Wes, and we should be live on two platforms for the very first time tonight. Should be on both YouTube as well as Facebook. So there it is, man. I'm sitting here in the driveway with my good friends Travis and Daniel Matichero. We're at his house. It's a little chilly. I didn't dress appropriately, so if you see me pull the granny fire truck shawl up, you'll know what's up. How you doing over there, Daniel?
I'm doing good. Got a little rained out today, so I got about 35 slides ready to go.
Oh, nice.
Overachieved today because I didn't go to work.
I like it.
Cool.
And then 5 minutes before I came out to set things up here in the driveway, my mother-in-law needed a tutorial on how to work the cable remote.
Oh, nice.
Here all fucking day long,
And
all day.
now she wants to know.
Hey,
5 minutes.
this is a pro Nana podcast.
It is.
It is
So,
pro
I
Nana.
love Nana.
You watch yourself, buddy.
Today
Let's just be very clear.
it was like, all right.
Yeah, let's not be bad mouthing any Nana.
Needed a tutorial.
Right.
There you go. Well,
Well, maybe she didn't want to watch TV till then. Dan. You think about
maybe.
that?
Yeah, man. Maybe she wanted a nap.
Yep.
She wanted a little nappy poo. Across the table from me is my good friend Travis Horn. What's going on that side of the table, buddy?
So, I had a realization yesterday.
Okay.
My daughter loves Christmas music.
Yeah.
I'm not really a big Christmas music person, or just Christmas in general.
Right.
But if you really stop and think about it, Frosty the Snowman is a pretty jacked up story.
Dude, how is that without them saying a Merry Christmas at the end of the song? How is that even a Christmas
That's like
song?
a horror movie.
Right?
Like, if we were outside building something and some inanimate object came to life, I'm going to put a lot of bullet holes in that thing.
You're right.
I'm going to call an exorcist.
Yep.
I'm going to call the cops.
Yep.
I'm not going to stop and write a Christmas song about it.
No, not at all,
But
man.
that, just hit me. All those years I was like, wait, if that happened and some just inanimate object came to life.
Man. Dude, you're right.
throwing holy water
it's
on it.
like a horror movie. Is what it is.
Florida water on it.
Florida.
Just literally anything I could find.
Yeah, absolutely.
The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you.
Pull out a torch and melt
what?
his ass and steal his magic
A
hat.
hairdryer.
You know, the hero in the story was the magician that was trying to steal the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah, that just hit me today. I'm like, man, that's a horror movie. That's not a frolicky Christmas song.
No.
Yet we sing it all the time.
That's right. That is absolutely right.
I have random thoughts.
Hey, man, we've got
A lot.
we've lost our childlike whimsy, is what Brett says.
Yes, we have.
Indeed, we have, sir. We're kind of jaded. Damn, refresh that shit, man.
I did.
Hey.
Fucking times.
Dude, it's working, I'm telling you. I'm sitting here watching it on YouTube,
I'm
man.
watching on YouTube as well. I look phenomenal, by the way. I don't know.
Dude, man,
I don't know if you noticed that.
my locks are looking pretty. It's like a halo.
It's your shoal that brings out your life.
It's my fire truck. Nana show.
So it has been quite an interesting week, coming off of a slow week because of Thanksgiving.
Right.
But Twitter and TikTok and Facebook have been absolute gold,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
but nothing to do with politics.
Yeah.
Has to do with college football.
God damn it.
SEC.
You know what? I'm not mad. I'm not mad about it, man. You know, I'm not mad at all. I mean, the only active coach that hadn't been fired from Auburn yet that has beat Alabama and now works for Auburn. So, I'm not mad about
Yeah,
it.
hey, like I put in the text thread, beating Alabama twice makes you a lot of money in this world.
Hey, you know what? You're right. You're right. And he obviously has learned a lesson from
But-
his transgressions.
Sure.
And
Yeah. He's got a burner from it.
hey, right. You know what? I mean, I got an argument on one of the Auburn threads with another. Well, I mean, it's right. This holier than thou righteous woman. She was like, "Well, you know, I'm sure he's a good coach, but blah 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 blah." I'm like, look, I'm not mad if he wants to call a few strippers in to keep the team happy and keep them from entering the transfer portal. Man, let it be.
Well,
Didn't anybody see The Wolf of Wall Street? I mean, come on.
I think it's more the self-righteous. He plays the Southern Baptist preacher. And then it's like, okay, like maybe you're not. Like he was quoting Bible verses like 3 weeks before he got busted buying hookers. And hey, look, I'm not one to throw the first stone. I've never personally paid for a hooker, but I can understand how this stuff happens.
Yeah, it does on occasion. It does.
My favorite one is all of them is the older dude opening the Christmas present, and the shirt that he got is the exact same shirt. That meme that says Auburn firing Gus Malzahn for Hugh Freeze, which wasn't exactly how it worked, but close enough.
I said yesterday after I was following the comments during the press conference, and I wrote, well, this is Gus 2.0. At least he has personality in a press conference.
Right.
I mean, Gus, but no, man, we're just doing our best. And I mean, Gus was terrible in press conference. Absolutely terrible. So
all right.
We'll see what happens.
Well, I know Dan's got 793 slots.
Yeah, man.
35.
Close. I rounded up.
So before we get into those, hey, we want to be able to go live on Rumble as well. Right now we're on Facebook and YouTube for our Wednesday night live stream. We'd love nothing more to also be live on Rumble because that's where conservatives typically hang out. And unfortunately, Rumble charges for that. So if you're not a Patreon subscriber, look at the little links that are scrolling down below, and you can help sponsor us and help us be able to justify getting on Rumble for live streams there.
So I think there's 3 options really to help us out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll start with B. B is subscribe on Rumble.
Right.
C is become a Patreon subscriber. But like A, number 1, far outpacing the other 2, is do both.
Yeah, you could go above and beyond.
Yeah.
You go above and beyond. I mean, because it's either or with Rumble. We need 100 subscribers, or you have to pay to be able to go live.
Right.
So, you know what? I wouldn't be mad if you chose one, A or B, but C, all of the above is a much better option. Or D, if you also own a liberty-minded business and you want to advertise with us and do the other 3 things, that'd be pretty super sweet too.
So I wanted to give a shout out to one of our Patreon sponsors and probably most loyal listeners, Kat Pellegrino. She's on. She's listening. I know. Well, hello, Kat. Congrats on getting moved down to Central Florida. Be sure to send us some politicians and some stuff our way so we can start changing Central Florida like we did the Panhandle.
Right.
Some bikini populism needs to be Central Florida too.
Absolutely. Kat's listening right now. She is.
Guess who else is listening? James Peters.
Oh, cool. Hey, James, I need to get with you about an air conditioner, buddy.
Dan Curry's on it. Will Abbott is a weekly.
Yeah, Will's my high school buddy.
Is he the guy in the mortgage business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Long
All right.
story there.
Yeah.
Shannon Krause.
She's a friend of mine. She's got a Florida Free shirt.
Sweet.
She bought one of those. Yeah.
Way to go.
She posted yesterday. Said she loved it.
And of course, our first Patreon subscriber,
Brett Christopher on Facebook.
Hey, look, you know what? It has been a hot minute since Brett joined us in the DriveWay. I think he's due.
I think he is due, man.
As our unpaid consultant / co-host /
advisor
/ I don't know.
The most important word is unpaid.
Unpaid.
Yes, that is the most important word. Absolutely.
Dan Curry's jamming in.
Is he? Okay.
Hello, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, buddy. Thanks,
Long time
man.
no see.
Yeah.
Crazy
Cool. Yeah. So let's get into them sides, man. We've tried to pay the bills a little bit. So.
All right. So.
Been made fun of Auburn, so we're good.
Oh man.
We've all seen what's going on in China.
Wait. Time out. Have you seen how many Alabama players that have entered the transfer portal? Okay, go ahead.
Have I brought up me being upset? Look, 2 of those receivers have problems catching the football, which is a really bad thing when you're a wide receiver. So I feel like it's probably time to find somewhere else to go.
Yeah, they'll probably go to Miami.
Yeah. Right.
We saw them in action.
Right.
They're
if you cannot catch a football,
go to Miami.
Yeah. Go to Miami.
You got to spy as a wide receiver or a defensive back.
Right.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. So what's going on in China, Dan?
All right. So if you haven't been paying attention, there's a revolt going on in China. Protests all over the place. China's doing the hard COVID lockdown because I guess.
Well, zero COVID.
I guess yeah. This is the birthplace.
And by hard COVID lockdown, they are literally welding doors on apartment complexes.
And the people who are rebelling and fighting back, apparently everybody in China has a cell phone.
Right.
So Apple is coming to the aid of the Chinese Communist Party, and they are, the way they're getting around the censorship in China, because there's certain apps that are blocked in China's version of the App Store.
Right.
And one of the ways they get around it, to be able to communicate while they're within each other, they use AirDrop.
Yeah.
So for Wes, because he has an Android, AirDrop is exactly what it sounds like.
I know what AirDrop is.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, well, let's get double barreled tonight.
Man, damn.
But on November 9th, when iOS 16.1.1 came out, and that hit customers worldwide. Have you gotten the
I don't ever upload the first update.
All right, well, I uploaded mine. So what they normally do is, if there is new features, they list them in there. So this one just said, this update includes bug fixes and security updates and is recommended for all users. Hidden in the update was a change that only applies to iPhones sold in mainland China. AirDrop can only be set to receive messages from everyone for 10 minutes. And then it switches itself off.
Wow.
So you were bashing me about my phone, and your phone company is contributing to the
Listen, we'll
communist
get to Android
regime.
here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there's some Android stuff in here too. Not with China, but
Who's the CEO of Apple?
Tim Cook.
God damn it.
Oh, I wonder where he went to college.
Auburn.
Oh, okay. I'm sure another commie coming out of Auburn is just random.
Oh, man. Shit.
Yep. So that's one way they're doing. The other thing is they're using. Actually, I don't know if you know this, but VPNs are illegal in China.
Right.
So you can't have a VPN on your phone.
Well, and they use an app like WeChat that's basically everything. Bus passes, like.
Yeah, it's their.
It's basically a social credit system.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so, like, when Elon Musk said he wanted Twitter to have some WeChat features, like, I don't think so. But go ahead.
So the protesters are using. We talked about AirDrop, but they're also using the Telegram app, which is blocked from China's internet. And apparently they found a way to get some VPNs in there and to get that app on there. So China is basically taking people's cell phones from them. Like, I've seen videos where they're on the train walking up to people saying, give me your cell phone, and they go through the cell phone to see if there's any of this illegal stuff. And if they do, you probably will never be seen for like it.
That's true.
You die.
But China's the model. They're a model for the world. It's coming our way.
You know, see, here, China did a good job, and this is what scares me about our country, is they basically said, hey, look, we're going to give you some features of modern society. Give you a cell phone, but you don't get every,
A little taste.
Yeah, like there's enough, there's a slight taste of freedom as opposed to just being jackbooted. Hey, you can own a business and a house, but everything kind of goes through the CCP. But it's enough bread and circuses to keep people, I don't want to say distracted, but just happy enough.
Yeah.
And the problem with this zero, right? And the problem with the zero COVID is, well, they would take like 2 cases and shut down a city of 10 million people. Like, could not leave your home, would have drones on the streets. And so when you took the bread and circuses away, and the supply chain issues, people can't eat, all that. I mean, at some point it's going to blow over. See, and that's the problem with the authoritarian side of China, is they're trying to enforce this stuff, and I don't care if I'm going to starve to death. Well, I'm at least going out fighting. You may shoot and kill me, or you may disappear me. I don't care, but I'm going to die anyways because I'm starving to death. So
yeah,
absolutely.
So I think that's what's going on in China. They got too far down the authoritarian path with the zero COVID. and they just push their people too far. And there's a certain level of inherent security and safety that we as humans have to be able to be controlled.
Yes.
Right.
My fear in this country is we're slowly moving to that.
And it's not as slow as.
Right, not as slow as it should be, but I don't know how many people, we've talked about the NFL, we've talked about the NBA, we've talked about, all these different things, now Apple, now, Disney, just all these different things, and it's like almost too much to fight at once, and you get overwhelmed, and it's real easy to be like, whatever, man, as long as I can watch my football, and, hell, I paid $14 for a 12-pack of Miller Lite. It was like 2 months ago, it was $10.
Yeah.
Well, Karl Marx, his thing was that the religion was the opiate of the masses, and it it placated everybody. But what we're actually seeing in today's society is it's entertainment, and it's all of these distractions that, granted, I love football as much as everybody sitting at this table, and probably a lot of our viewers, but you get into it and you realize, man, I don't really want to pay attention to this stuff. This stuff is really too painful to think about.
Yeah.
Let me go back and watch this game, or let me mess around on Facebook, or let me watch YouTube, or whatever it is that we do. And it just it's the opiate of the masses, so to speak.
Well, and you got to think, it's November 2022. 2 years ago, in a vast majority of the country, schools were still closed.
Right.
Movie theaters were closed. Restaurants were, do you remember the little pods they set up on the streets of New York so people could eat at a restaurant, but they had to sit outside? Mm-hmm. That's just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
This isn't ancient history. And people now are just okay, whatever, we just move on with our lives. And to me, that's a little bit worrisome, because the college football came back, the NFL, the NBA, all these things came back, and it's just a big distraction. And it's a worthwhile distraction at times, I get it. You can't just do this nonstop.
Right.
You can't just be involved in the politics and the culture war just nonstop. I personally cannot do it.
It's funny you say that. Is when we did the thing Saturday night after we'd been drinking, and we video ourselves just bashing Miami most of the time. When I was kind of editing the sound on that, I'm like, you know what? This is actually more fun. We have a good time doing the podcast. Sure. There's no doubt about it. And I'm not saying it's not fun to sit here and talk politics, because it's important, number one. And it is. We have a good time when we do this. But it was more fun just sitting there drinking, getting hammered,
yeah,
and talking about, football, things that don't matter as much, know?
And there's nothing wrong with the distractions, right? That is to me, the beauty of American society is, and what's supposed to be a representative, constitutional republic, is we don't have to be involved in that. You can choose to run for an office and make it a good portion of your life, but
right.
It's just it doesn't have to be. But there's a certain we've outsourced too much of our freedom and liberty to, I watched Fox News for 2 hours, and I bought Bill O'Reilly's new book, and okay, I'm good now. Flip the ESPN back on.
Right.
The other issue with that is they've made it to where the only feel-good thing is to be distracted. If you want to go and run for office, it's like hell to get there. Your family goes through hell. They dig up every single thing you've ever done in your entire life if they don't want you there. You got to fight against all that. And then when you're in office, if you're actually doing something that is against this establishment, you're under constant bombardment and constant attack. That's why we end up with some of the worst people in our society in office.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Because either they're a part of that group, or they don't give two shits about what's happening in the first line.
Where I think the woke people are making a bad move is you can't even do the distractions are no longer just distractions. like when we come over on Sunday, we do the first look. You typically have the NFL on before and after.
Right.
And in every end zone, in racism.
Yeah.
If you watch an NFL game, and it like the freaking SEC on CBS has this commercial that they just run regularly that's talking about it. The SEC and Pfizer would suggest you to get your booster. Like, can I not just watch Alabama beat the crap out of Auburn, please?
Yeah.
That's all I'm here for.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that it used to be an escape, but now it's a tool to disseminate propaganda.
Right. And so as more and more people disengage because they don't, I was never a big NFL fan, so for me making some big, I'm never going to, watch the NFL again, like, it doesn't matter. I didn't do anything with it anyways. I don't play fantasy football, none of this thing. College football, that's how I feel about college football, like Dad feels about the NFL. Like, you know what? They're pretty much going to have to just, like, make Xi Jinping the commissioner before I say no.
Mm.
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with where we were brought up.
Right.
Like, me growing up in New York and Pennsylvania, college football's there,
right,
but it's not dominant. NFL is
Sure.
huge, and you'll see pockets of that all across the country.
But even when you've got the NFL on and it's a commercial and it's the NFL supports equality, or
it doesn't matter. It's on everything.
Yeah, I know, and to me that's where the people that are trying to push that agenda are starting to mess up. Is you've got to have distractions. There's going to be pushback at some point, and
they're red pilling people.
Right. The NFL and the NBA, it may be slow. Sorry, I'll wait on Grandma to put it.
Yeah, let me get my shawl off. It's chilly.
It may be slow, but if you look like my daughter will never care about the NFL. Not that she cares about football much anyways.
Right.
Right. But does Danny care as much as you do about the NFL? No. So.
No, but they're watching something else that's got similar commercials.
But it's not the NFL, which is the biggest TV deal on earth right now.
Right, but between the NFL and all the other things that people watch, it's 100% covered.
No. But let me finish my point. It is 100% covered. But the NFL is the biggest deal on earth as far as TV. Okay.
Yes,
Well, I'm sure your dad was a big NFL. Yeah. And you probably fell in love with it watching it with him. That's how I fell in love with college football. Well, now it stops with you because your son, at least your youngest, doesn't really care. So he may pay attention to the Dolphins, but he's never going to be like you do. Right. And every Sunday I'm sitting down and I'm watching. I'm going to pay for the package. I'm going to do these different things. So it's slow. And every year you're going to start to see just a little less because as people get older, they just won't care.
Right.
Same thing with Disney. Their new animated movie just absolutely bombed. And they were promoting it as the most diverse and LGBT friendly, all that.
That may be why it bombed.
Well, yeah,
the last two bombed. The last one to bomb, I think, was the Black Cauldron, which was like in the 80s.
Yeah.
The one that didn't make money.
Right.
So these two that they released this year didn't make money.
And I mean, there's estimates that Disney might lose $100 million on their latest animated film.
Good.
And so, everybody's talking about Bob Iger in the press conference. He didn't back off anything, and so, okay, well, eventually Disney, that business isn't sustainable as a business plan. You can't go lose $100 million on a regular basis. I don't care what company you're.
Right.
And you're talking about two animated Disney movies, which have been driven the culture as much as any single thing besides maybe the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but have lost probably combined $200 million in 1 year. Now you take what DeSantis did with Disney in Orlando and kind of revoking some of the tax privileges. Yeah. I mean, you're talking $300 million in 1 year of losses.
Yeah.
You can only sustain that for so long.
Oh, yeah.
But nobody at Disney is going to look around and say, wow, you know what? I think it's because we did this.
No, because just like when we had our little event out there and we each gave a speech, I talked about ESG and the fact that the companies are no longer profit driven.
Yeah.
They are agenda driven.
Right.
Well,
you see that with Twitter and what was going on before Elon Musk took over. I mean, they weren't making money, and they were admittedly not making money. And I don't understand how you can perpetuate a business without making money. How are you paying these people?
That's a good
It's
question.
loans and bonds and those types of things. They probably have a lot of credit with, and so again, like with Disney, like I think about Disney, like I think about the NFL, and those two are tied together a little bit through ESPN. But it's probably going to be slow. Now Disney, I think, has been a lot more quick reaction to their nonsense because it's just so overt.
Yeah.
And Disney needs kids.
Oh yeah.
Like my daughter loves the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
I asked her the other day, I'm like, hey, when's the next Marvel movie come out? I don't know.
Well, the thing is if you look at the last two Marvel movies that came out, you had the Thor movie and this Wakanda movie, that Wakanda Forever, that's in the theaters right now, and both of those are woke pieces of garbage.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, and so like I went and saw basically every Marvel movie after Iron Man 3 in the theater.
dude, yeah,
That was appointment viewing, like Endgame, like the whole,
all of it, yeah.
I mean, that was appointment viewing for me, and I would go spend that money. I mean, I'd spend $50-$60, do whatever. Those were really the only movies I ever cared to go see.
Those were great movies.
Yeah,
They were absolutely great movies. They stuck to a good storyline. They were relatively true to the original comic books, if you were a comic book fan, which I never really was, but...
I liked girls, so I didn't pay attention to comic books.
Well,
Sorry.
I mean, at 5 is when I had comic books. So all girls had cooties then.
That's right.
But, I mean, they were relatively true. So those people who were the comic book nerds, that's important to them. And they were good stories. They were redemption stories. They were filled with great action, great CGI, great effects, all of that. And there wasn't a hidden agenda.
Right.
There wasn't a hidden message. They weren't preaching to people about accepting this or accepting that or
everything
or whatever.
Was it was at least subtle. Whatever
Yeah.
they were trying to do was subtle.
Right.
Right. And that's where, because as you watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as you get towards the end, like the very first Thor and then Thor Ragnarok, and I think that was the last one before it stopped. There's some in Thor Ragnarok, which quite possibly is my favorite movie of all of them.
It's great. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
But if you watch that, there's some things in there.
Yeah.
That you're starting to see, the girl boss with some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's at least subtle where I can overlook it. I can choose to be like, whatever. It was still a good movie. It's hilarious. It's fun.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, if you're playing Immigrant Song from Led Zeppelin a lot, I'm probably going to like your movie just in general.
Yeah, especially if you're using it in a battle scene.
Yeah.
I mean, right.
So.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. The Endgame movies, the one, what was Infinity War?
Infinity War.
And then Endgame.
Yeah.
So I remember being a kid and going and seeing the second Star Wars movie, and that was a cliffhanger. It left you with a lot of questions. And I took Savannah, my daughter, to see Infinity War, and that was her Empire Strikes Back, because it left you with all these questions. And she literally cried when Peter Parker died, Spider-Man died or went away. And, and I mean, she was upset. She was leaving the movies like, no, it can't end like that. It can't end like that. And I'm thinking, man, you know what? That's such a powerful story that it drew her in, and it made me think of that Empire Strikes Back. I didn't cry, but when I left the theater, I was like, man, that can't end like that. And back then, you didn't have social media where you knew there was a third movie coming.
Well, I think Chris Hemsworth recently this week did a interview. Who's Thor?
Right. Yeah.
I know all the women watching know. But,
Yeah.
But so Thor's the character arc for Thor is really odd, but the movies have kind of overtaken his character arc.
Right.
Right. In a lot of it, I mean, this dude's a demigod, and he controls thunder.
Right.
Like, what? Like, but watch his character arc. Some of that stuff it's interesting when you kind of really break it down. But after the Love and Thunder, where now the girl's Thor and he doesn't have any power, and it was a whole patriarchy type deal.
Right.
He made some comments this week in an interview that was basically like, current trajectory is not really good. I don't know. If
He's out. He said he's out. He said he's done, and you can't really blame him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was not. I mean, his character wasn't the hero of that story. I mean, at the end, kind of not Ragnarok. I'm talking about the
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
The most recent one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Well, I mean, in that one, I haven't seen it, but even my daughter said, he's Thor. Like, to render him as, like, some completely useless, impotent man is, she loves Thor, is one of her favorite characters. Right. And she left the movie, I picked her up, and she was like, I don't know what that was, but that wasn't good.
Yeah.
She's 15. She's not deep in this stuff. She's not really into it. It just wasn't an enjoyable movie.
Hey, well, let's break real quick for this quick commercial message.
Hey, is your grill nasty? Is it missing some parts? Do you need a new grill? Well, give Dan the Grill Man a call. He is literally the best grill maintenance company on the Emerald Coast. Literally. Look him up on Facebook.com/Fresh and Clean Grill. That's Dan the Grill Man. Literally the best.
Oh, we're back. Sorry, that's a short commercial. That's why we need you to sponsor a podcast if you own a liberty-loving business, so we can have longer to take a pee break and discuss other strategies.
Yeah, I was about to get up.
No.
Man commercial came out.
Gotta watch the grill.
Gotta watch the Grill Man commercial. Yeah, but
so I like how we go from China to Marvel.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I am interested to see China's response. The Biden White House response is absolutely, it is...
It's ridiculous.
If you were compromised by China, that's what your response would be.
Because he's compromised.
So, but see, here's my other is, could the American president really make the stand against China?
No.
Xi Jinping can be like, well, that's cool. I'll just stop all these container ships from leaving and heading to the United States. Have fun with all that.
Yeah,
like what Russia did to Europe.
Yeah, I mean,
winter's coming, boys and girls.
If every container ship from China for a month stopped, it'd be a revolution in this country.
Yeah,
it'd be riot in the streets.
Oh yeah.
Just reality.
You'd be missing a lot of cool things in your house that you're used to getting with Amazon bringing and everything else.
So
literally everything.
So to see the White House have such a tepid response, that was my first two thoughts. Like, well, if I was compromised by China, I'd probably have a similar
compromise or dependent on China.
Yeah, and then on the flip, the second point is, well, if I was the American president, I knew that we're completely screwed if they decide to go full-on trade war and cut us off.
Yeah.
I mean, there'd be nukes flying in 48 hours.
Oh, yeah.
If China wanted to completely cut us off. But they need our money. So, it's a real, it's the most disgusting relationship ever.
Yeah.
Whoever the worst married couple you've ever known in your life that just gets the cops called on a weekly basis, that is basically us in China.
No doubt.
And they stay together because they have no choice.
Right.
Yep.
Insane. All right, so let's move on to Google. So I guess we're hitting the big corporations that are helping governments take freedom away from their people.
Yeah, let's talk bad about Google on their own platform.
Well, listen.
Right. We just got blocked.
Good. Fuck you. No, in regards to the January 6th situation, Google provided investigation with location data for more than 5,000 devices that were a part of the investigation in the riot at the Capitol.
Does Google own the Android App Store?
Yeah.
I wasn't asking that to be a smart ass.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So they basically used a geofence.
Right.
So Google cooperated and gave them all this information.
Of course.
So Bongino talked about this today. When you look at this is a situation where our government has the people. They've got these 5,500 and some
Right.
people inside this geofence, and now they're looking for the crime to attach to these people, which is the opposite of what our country's supposed
Right.
to be.
Yeah. When it comes to the United States government, there's no more innocent until proven
No,
guilty.
it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
It's over.
Right.
So the government has hit Google with these warrants, and if you ask Google, they say, well, sometimes we comply and sometimes we don't. We push back at certain times. Well, with this,
Just like that.
January 6th, you can have it all. You can have it all. So basically what they did was the FBI had 5,500 people, or 5,723 people to be exact, and they served about 10,000 geofence warrants a year. So this was half of them. So what they do is they use GPS, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. So it's more accurate than kind of triangulate. I mean, you've seen the movies where they triangulate the cell phone towers.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This is much
CSI.
more accurate because even when you turn your phone off,
Oh yeah. It's,
the
it
airplane
does,
mode,
yeah.
your GPS is still active.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, it's not even airplane mode. It's even if you turn your phone off, it's still tracking you.
yes, ask Edward Snowden that.
Yes.
Right.
So the location history works also in airplane mode. So what they did was anybody who deleted their location history, red flag, went straight after those people, and there was 37 of them. So where those people in the charges haven't played out yet, because like 900 people, about 900 people got charged
Right.
Right.
in varying degrees in this thing. But you're in a situation where if you went to the Trump rally on January 6th, you're in this group.
Oh yeah.
So they now have access to your phone, or at least Google's your all your location everywhere.
Right.
And then who knows what other companies
Yeah. Text messages.
they've been able to get.
Right.
Yeah, if they need to, they'll go to Verizon or whoever and get your text history, and because all these things pop up now. You see these court cases where look at Alex Jones. They had all his texts.
Right.
So Edward Snowden warned us about this years ago, and we didn't give a shit. And that was his biggest fear. And now here we are living it in a way more advanced version than even Snowden dreamed. warned us about.
So what's the answer? Because I mean, unless you've either got an Apple or an Android phone, there's really no other option.
Yeah, there's a Google phone, which is
But it's
technically
still
an Android phone.
But whether it's Google or Samsung, it's Android.
Right, it's
operating
but
system,
yeah,
so it's
there's zero chance.
You got Apple or
I'm
Android.
buying a Google product to carry on me at all times. Right, so like I even deleted my Fitbit app because Google bought Fitbit.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So
you can't get away from
and
it.
here's so that also kind of ties in. I know we've talked a lot about it, but Twitter, Apple and Google are kind of hitting around like, oh, maybe we'll remove Twitter from the App Store, which basically renders Twitter completely useless.
Right.
Now, I think the blue checks would lose their mind, though. Even the lefty journalists, I swear they're leaving. But Elon Musk said the other day, he's like, okay, I'll just start my own phone company.
Yeah. Which.
There's one person that can do it. It's him.
Yeah, I mean,
Right. Yeah, he's got the correct change. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, he's already got engineers building, self-driving electric cars. Now he's got engineers at Twitter. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like it's so.
But he was in California today meeting with Tim Cook at headquarters.
Yeah, I'd have loved to have been a fly on that wall.
It would have been great.
Dude, the meme he had, it's the car like sliding through the off ramp,
Right.
or you can go straight and it's got the highway sign. And one of them is because Apple takes, I think, 30% of like in-app purchases or whatever
Yeah.
that is,
Yeah.
subscriptions, things like that. And it said pay 30% or the off ramp is war. And Elon posted that meme himself.
Oh wow.
And so think about this. Like to me, it would be really cool. It's also kind of scary, like when you start to play it out. So I could have I don't know, maybe it's a Tesla phone, right?
Yeah.
That then it works in concert with my car, and through Starlink, he doesn't need your cell towers. He's got satellites.
You're right. He's got what? Yeah. And
so
they say that Starlink is badass internet.
yeah, and so now you've got one dude who seems okay,
Right.
who theoretically could control your phone, your car,
Yep.
and your internet access,
Oh yeah.
Think about that for a minute.
right?
Well, I was listening to, I can't remember
Oh,
which.
and the most popular way to share things.
I was listening
Yeah.
to this. I forget which.
Oh,
show
and he's
I
working
was
on
listening
Neuralink, which he would embed in your head and connect your brain.
Yeah.
Where-
I'm not down for that.
where they eventually will get, if something doesn't stop it, they're eventually going to get to the point where we're going to have an app similar to China where our bank account's in there,
Yeah.
and we're going to have electric cars that are hooked up to the grid, and when you get to that point and they're monitoring everything that you do, and you do something like have a podcast that
Mm-hmm.
calls them out, they're gonna the way they're gonna find you is they're just gonna deduct the money out of your app, the
Yeah.
bank account,
Right.
They can shut your car down,
Right.
but you're not gonna all right, I got to go to the grocery store. Sorry, you're in Facebook jail. You're in electric car jail for the next 2 days. You'll get a message like
Yeah.
Facebook jail with no
Well,
explanation,
hey, look,
Yeah.
and you won't be able to go anywhere.
it kind of freaks me out that I'll get an email from my truck that says, "Oh, it's time for an oil change."
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what?
Mhm.
How do you know? It's like, and my truck's pretty basic. Your guys, Wes's might not because it's just a little bit older. But
I don't get
Dan's-
emails.
I know Dan's got a shitload better technology than mine does.
Well, I have OnStar. That's the
Yeah.
way that they do it on mine.
And so, I was like, what?
Well, when my battery was going, it immediately, when Danny tried to start it up and I needed a new battery,
Yeah,
immediately sent me
email.
a text. And then a few minutes later, I got an email.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And that's awesome, right? So you're
Well,
not,
the convenience and the
Yes.
information is great, and it sucks you in.
yeah.
But on the back end, the things they do in
Right.
the dark are the scary
See,
part.
and as much as the bread and circuses, the conveniences of our society has made us,
Vulnerable.
yes, and has made us weak because, like, I don't ever use. I love grocery shopping because I like to put my hands on food
Mm-hmm.
and see it and touch it. And I know a lot of people that do the online grocery shopping. I just don't. I don't. I'm not gonna pay for
Man,
it.
I did it for a while, and it was when they first had it out there. It was, yeah, because they'd send you coupons and
Right,
stuff
yeah.
like that. So it was a no-brainer. It was like, okay, this is about what I would pay if I went up there with gas and everything else. And man, for a while there, we were ordered like once a week.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't ordering like $300 worth of groceries, but
I mean, I've been at somebody's house in our neighborhood and running low on beer and wine, beer and champagne for our wives. They're like, hold on, boom, boom, boom. All right, more beer and champagne. Be here in an hour. Like, shut up.
yeah,
Like, that's cool. Don't get me wrong, but
I
you know,
just told Elaine, I'm like, last 2 containers of dog food. So she'll just go on the Walmart Plus app, and tomorrow we'll have groceries to make dog food.
yeah, and
Sitting
see
on the
and
front porch.
see, and that's where that kind of stuff is where I struggle because it is one of the we would only have that if the United States of America existed, and it's a beauty of capitalism.
yeah,
Mhm.
However, we've reached a point where the convenience is making us weak and making us vulnerable to coercion.
And we also can't trust the companies, the corporations that are putting out this technology because they are climbing into bed or are already in bed
Right.
with
Yeah.
the government and the government is using this for nefarious reasons to control us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a couple of comments we probably should discuss. Hey, Shannon Krask, she said hey a little while ago. If I can't remember if we said hey back. Kat, one of our biggest Patreon supporters, she says, while they're distracting us, that's when they do their worst, as far as damaging our economy and our way of life. Absolutely true. Mm-hmm. And to your point, Dan, we have to be better now and 2 steps ahead of them at all times to beat them at their own game.
So, and that point is very true.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get through the layers of the onion to beat them at that game.
Right. You've got to beat them at their own game. I mean, everybody's talking about, we were talking about football earlier, and everybody's worried about Auburn's new coach and his history. His history in the circle.
Hey man, if I was a burner phone store in Lee County, Alabama, I'd be freaking excited as hell right now.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. All right. So I didn't bring that up for more ragging on this shit.
Oh, sorry.
But
Wait, hold on.
But the point being,
it was literally 4 days ago
You had to have known.
that Alabama beat Auburn for this year's Iron Bowl.
yeah.
I'm not just going to let it slide. Okay.
So you're okay with the bully beating the crippled child on the playground?
Absolutely.
Because that's basically what was going on with the interim coach and the depleted cupboard with players.
Sure.
But okay,
yeah.
fair
I've
enough.
heard of some bullshit excuses.
Right.
That one takes the cake.
I would be
That is a great
You
excuse.
didn't hear any excuse from that one. We were sitting in the driveway watching Pitt beat the fuck out of Miami.
Look, if it was 70-0,
Look,
I'd have been
y'all-
upset it wasn't 80-0.
How long has Cristobal been at Miami?
It's his first year.
No.
It is
First
year
year?
one. Yeah, year one.
Oh, okay.
All those freshmen that won against Georgia Tech were his recruits.
Okay.
All the rest is Manny Diaz recruits.
Okay.
Who
All
have
right.
given up, basically. We watched them. We even commented.
Yeah.
Oh, they just gave up.
Well,
But to your point about the football.
my point is that, so up until Harsin got fired at Auburn, all these Auburn fans are bitching, well, he's a terrible coach, blah, blah. Of course, I don't think they gave Harsin enough time. I think Harsin's a decent coach. I just don't think he fits in the South. But that being said, that's all they were worried about was winning. Now they're hiring a guy who has a history of being a quarterback whisperer. I mean, the defense will probably suck, but at least there'll be some points on the board, and we won't have games where we're scoring 17 and winning. But the thing is, do you want to win? Because you got to play the game, man. You got to do what you got to do to win. Right. I mean, and Saban's obviously handling refs duffel bags filled with hundreds.
Sure.
So
Which if you got it, well, you're dumb not to. But when we talk about these authoritarian woke folks and beating them at their own game, so let's start peeling back the onion. Okay, well, me and Dan have an iPhone, and Wes has an Android phone. All right, well, that's Google and Apple. We've just had that conversation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get in my Dodge Ram truck, and Dan's got a Chevrolet, Wes got a Nissan. Well, I can assure you all of them changed their Twitter profile to a rainbow engine.
More than likely.
At least they're USA.
Yeah.
My wife's got a Toyota. Yeah.
And so we can just go on
They didn't in
and on
Qatar,
and on.
I assure you.
Right. Like according to our Congressman Miller Lite, and so when we say beat them in their own game, to me that's the overwhelming part. And you've got to pick and choose the things that you can do.
Yeah.
I canceled Disney Plus.
I did too, finally.
I have friends that have young kids, like Brett and I have had this discussion. Like, dude, if I had 3 under 6, no way.
Right.
I'd be canceling Disney Plus. Like, I'd be upping my subscription. Like, it just that's what you have to. So being there on their own, we have to be with our time, with where we show up. Not going to these Disney movies, but at the end of the day, I talk about it a lot. It is money. It's where you spend your money. It's how you spend your money. It is, what you choose to do. As opposed to buying something from Amazon, go directly to somebody's site, and maybe it takes 3 extra days, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just these simple types of things, and we can't let the convenience
Well,
get in the way of our getting back to our American values.
I think it's also a matter of creating an alternative economy. And by alternative economy, I don't mean necessarily bringing up a Parler or a Truth Social. I mean, we need, and I've been thinking about this, and I was going to run it by you. I'm just kind of throwing it out here now, not saying this is what we're going to do. But I think, yes, we want advertisers on this podcast, but I also think that we ought to create a free page in our website for businesses who are conservative-minded businesses, and they can list their name and location only, no contact information. You know, if somebody wants to find them, they can copy and paste it and Google it. But I'd be willing to do that in the site for conservative-minded businesses.
Like Public SQ is an app, and it is you can filter it a lot of different ways, but it is meant so that you can find like-minded individuals. Maybe that freedom loving, like these companies have to go and sign up for this, and so like that's out there. It's not popular enough. I downloaded it, and like there's like 2 businesses around here.
Right.
But it's huge and essential for it. Where Cat's at. I looked at, just all kinds of stuff now.
What's the name of that?
Public SQ.
SQ.
Mm-hmm. And so it's basically a database of basically it really started. I think it was like, hey, here's the places where you don't have to wear a mask. Here's the places where, all this different stuff.
Right.
And it's kind of exploded from that.
User-driven?
Yeah, it's user-driven. Mm-hmm. And so, you can encourage, and so those types of things are coming out. More people need to know about it. Now, it's not going to be necessarily mainstream because, that's not what any big tech or anything is going to push.
Right.
You've got Rumble, which is, a little bit different than YouTube, but I think it's okay. It's getting a lot better. Right, they're putting money into it. You've got, you've got these different things. Like for us, I should probably go to Publix a lot more than I go to Walmart. Publix, a Florida-owned company.
Right.
They seem to be pretty. Look, these bigger corporations, there's only so much you can do, but Publix is pretty straight up and down, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
As far as a company that size.
Yeah.
And so, it's just those types of things we've got to start just like little by little do that, and that $100 you would have spent at Walmart, maybe and spend it at Publix instead, or these types of things. Or hey, I'm going out to eat. I get on this Public SQ app and I find someone who's gone on there and put their business on there because they believe in freedom and liberty and American values.
Yeah.
Like those types of things, and it feels like nothing, and you're going to look around in a few months and be like, I don't think anything's changed. It's not, but we just encourage more and more people, and eventually it does.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's baby steps until you eat the elephant, so to speak. It's a matter of.
How do you think we got here? It wasn't overnight.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It was a long,
process.
planned out process.
Mm-hmm.
But
generational.
Yeah, the slow march through the institutions, and then you look around like, oh my God, we own. There's no institutions in America that are even worth a crap, even worth saving. Most of them probably need to be abolished, if nothing else, stripped down completely to the bare bones and rebuilt with American values.
Right.
And with American morals and those types of things,
Well, and that's, I would prefer if I needed a gooder service, and obviously it needs to be reasonably priced, because people have been bitching about Walmart for 20 years, but they are still in business and they're still killing it because up until recently, they had no real competitors in the marketplace. Now that Amazon's on the table and a couple others, they have competitors out there, but they were the low-cost provider. You couldn't buy bread. You could buy bread for 50 cents cheaper in there. You could buy milk for 50 cents cheaper. You could buy horse meat instead of beef, allegedly. So, that's how they stayed in business, because people valued that cash savings over politics or over principle.
Sure.
So but if you are a liberty-minded business, you reach out to me directly and say, hey, I sell this, I sell that, I sell this, and I will do my best to patronize your business myself. And I will, it's just like we've got a couple of restaurants here that we know are owned by conservatives. Old Florida Fish House, Shunk Gully. Mm-hmm. And although I don't...
My buddy at Elmo's?
Yeah.
Right.
Brad, I've gotten where Elmo's has become a regular spot for me. Like if instead of going and paying $5,
I'll tell you off the air, but you'll be you may not be shocked, but it'll be good news. Just remind me off the air.
So
I'll tell you about something.
I'll give you some inspiration for folks out there. You guys were talking about movies early on. I used to go to the movies by myself. It was literally my most enjoyable leisure time.
right?
It didn't matter if it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 8 o'clock at night or midnight, whatever it was. I saw almost every movie that came out that was moderately interesting.
Yeah, we know.
I owned every Tuesday when the new release DVDs came out. I bought DVDs. I mean,
You are literally
thousands of
you are
DVDs.
like the Rain Man of movie details.
So all these movies you guys were talking about, I have seen none of them. I saw the last movie that I saw in the Marvel universe was Endgame. I haven't seen none of the Spider-Man ones, none of the other ones coming out.
Well, see, in the Spider-Man's one, the Spider-Man, the two, and those were apparently pretty darn good. They were produced by Sony. They weren't produced by Disney.
Well, yeah,
But I
Sony
didn't-
still
I didn't-
has the rights, but now Disney owns Sony.
Right.
Yeah, but I have right now I have no interest in going to a movie theater and watching a movie.
Yeah. I'm waiting.
I saw the Maverick movie. Was pretty much the only recent movie that's been out that I've seen.
I hadn't even seen no.
That's it.
I watched it here with Dad.
Did you?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah, the
and
Top
it's
Gun.
and
Yeah,
it's
it was good.
and it's not a woke movie at
Right.
all. Add to that, those of you who have watched for any length of time know that my favorite beer in the world is Fat Tire. I have not had a Fat Tire beer since Travis talked to me about the direction the company has gone. None. And that is a massive sacrifice.
Yeah.
Such a big sacrifice that I'm fucking drinking Trulies. Oh, you fucking muted me.
Well, there's
I'm trying to-
there's a high pitched noise in the
Oh, it's
headphones.
I think it's the AC.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's not the headphones. It's not the headphones. Trust me.
okay,
It was
I heard
doing
it
that when we
earlier.
were setting up.
okay. It's
So-
aggravating me a little bit.
So there's.
So when you're drinking Trulies and you and your wife are having maybe just like a heated discussion, does she look you in the eye and say, "Hey, I want to talk to you woman to woman"?
Yeah, pretty much. That's
I'm just-
I'd imagine that's exactly what
there is
happens.
no heated discussion when I'm drinking Trulies. So.
I'm sure.
I'm sure,
All right,
except for
sorry.
about 1 week every month.
Fuck you. But I mean, just not going to the movies
Yeah, that's a big deal.
it's a complete absolute change of life for me. It
Yeah,
was literally as much as I watch football, movies were right there with
Sure.
me.
Yeah.
And I don't watch them anymore.
dude. Well, we were absolute Disney fanatics, and during COVID, I was going to hold my annual passes until their 50th anniversary at Walt Disney World. And during COVID, they started monkeying around with the annual passes. Well, they paused them for a little while, and then they ended up canceling them because of COVID, and then they brought them back at about 40% increase.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about the time for my renewal. I was like, screw that.
To make up for lost.
And then, I mean, obviously, a lot of the woke stuff has been going on subtly for years with them, but it started coming on extremely strong.
Now they're LGBT jihads.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah, yeah.
they are
Yeah.
card carrying, flag waving,
So
LGBT
So we're going
promotion.
the week before Christmas, 16th through the 19th, going to Universal.
Yeah.
Because my family, we're roller coaster people. We don't care about the Disney stuff.
Right.
My daughter, like, she's been twice. She's like, okay, I'm good. But she loves Harry Potter, and so we decided to go to Universal, and they were running a huge freaking deal,
Yeah.
like BOGO for Florida residents those 2 days. So I think for 4 2-day tickets to the Hopper or whatever they call it,
Yeah.
and a hotel was like $1,100
For all three of you?
for we're taking a friend, so 4 of us.
Wow. That's actually, yeah, that's
And
a pretty
3
good
nights in a
deal.
hotel.
That's a good deal.
So, and then I was like, you know what? I don't necessarily mind spending my money at Universal. I'm sure there's some stuff there,
Yeah.
right? And and one of the things that somebody told us, like, oh, when you get to Universal, tell them that one of you has social anxiety, and they'll give you a pass. You can go straight to the front of the line. It's like, hold on, say this again.
Right.
They're like, yeah. Just tell them, like, has real bad anxiety. They'll give you a pass where basically go through the fast pass line. You don't have to wait in the long line. I'm like, well, wife's got a medical marijuana card. Technically for anxiety. They're like, yeah, just go talk to
You're
them.
done. Yeah.
You'll get like a pass or something. I was like, shut the hell up. Then I thought, well, that's kind of stupid, but I'll take advantage of it.
Well,
Sure.
We used to be huge. When we lived in the Tampa Bay area, we had annual passes every year for Disney.
Right.
Yeah.
Elena's used to be a major Disney fanatic. Both of my kids, my younger kids, have had 3 birthdays, celebrations at Disney.
Right.
My daughter's done the whole princess thing.
Yeah.
Danny did Toy Story, and
Mhm.
he had the Jedi robe on, swinging the freaking lightsaber
Yeah.
on. They've all done that.
Yep.
I went to freaking Star Wars weekend in May. It was 8,000 degrees out.
Yeah, it was. I've done that.
And
Yeah.
I pushed my mother-in-law around in a wheelchair.
No, I've never pushed my mother-in-law around, but I have.
Not
in a wheelchair, anyway.
That's what we did for our kids, right? Now, the thing I'm struggling with now is I have 3 grandchildren.
Right.
The oldest 2 are in the 3-year-old range now. So we're getting to the point where
They're ready to start.
that's going to be, because Gianna and Danny both had their 3rd birthday at Disney.
Right.
And that was just the start of, and then once they got 7, 8 years old was the peak.
Right.
I don't know what I'm going to do now. You
but-
fucking ruined it for me.
But I would
Disney.
say from basically, I don't know, we'll call it the 80s maybe, until recently, like Disney, or the properties Disney currently owns, drove a lot of the culture, and especially for children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whether it's Toy Story or Monsters Inc. or just
Lion
all the
King.
Pixar stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's different, not because necessarily like 3-year-olds are making a stand, but because Disney's gotten so bad at what they do, because it's a religion.
Yeah.
It's no longer attractive to parents and 3-year-olds.
Yeah. And to me, I view Disney no different than the Jehovah's Witness knocking on my door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they have the same level of belief in what they're pushing.
Yep. Well, guys, we're out of time. We're actually a little bit over.
I went fast.
Yeah.
3 slides.
Absolutely. I can't believe nobody, of course you can't see it, but Dan, I can't believe you didn't make a comment about me being able to switch scenes and still have audio from everybody today.
I did see that.
I did.
I was
Well, I
watching
saw
it.
that, but
I didn't want to interrupt the flow.
Yeah.
I kind of just admired it
relax pose.
Yeah.
passively.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Every time I put Dan up, I'd put him up like this, and he's like,
See what I like? Yeah, yeah. What I like about Dan is the camera's like 2 feet from his face,
right?
and there's a microphone, and he still can't stop his hands.
No, he can't. He's Italian, man. He's Italian.
Oh, by
so-
the way, there was an update.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
In, the DNA thing. I'm now 22.7% Italian.
Okay.
Well, how do you get?
57%
Never
Irish.
mind.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how it changes, but apparently they're getting more accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Or
updated
They've
it.
watched the
FBI.
show and they have talked to my wife and they want me to believe I'm more Italian.
Or maybe just eating enough meatballs and lasagna to.
I just absorbed it.
Yeah, it's changed your DNA. There you go. Well, guys,
That's certainly not out of the realm of possibility, right? Eating food and changing your DNA.
Julie Claire says, Dan, I hope your mother-in-law isn't listening.
Aunt Julie!
You should have heard what he said off air.
Hold on. If Julie missed the beginning, we are a very pro Nana podcast.
We are
we are.
definitely
We
a
are.
Very
pro Nana.
As
Yes.
a matter of fact, at some point during her visit here, which will be pretty much the rest of
Yeah.
December up until Christmas,
She's coming on with it.
she said she's going to come on.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
So she's
That would
gonna
be
come hang
awesome.
out. And listen, she's inside right now watching Fox News.
I like it.
Now,
There you go.
she's going to have that corporate GOP. frame
As long as you watch,
frame.
watch Tucker, I'm okay.
She
Yeah.
does.
Good.
Yep.
She does.
Good.
But
And
when I
and
leave to go to
meatballs
work-
will help.
When I
Yeah.
leave to go to work, I put Fox News on for. It's on all day.
Apparently not
Yeah,
today.
all day.
So
Not
hey,
today,
no, not today. So hey guys, we're
When I have to leave the dogs for a while, I put on the dog channel on Netflix. That's basically what you just said.
and when I
Nobody's here to babysit that. I just
I
put on Fox
put-
News.
put-
No, she asked me to put it on. I am.
She said, "Put on Nickelodeon Junior." And my
She'll tell me.
backyard
She's like, "Hey,
friends.
Dan, put Fox News on before you leave."
I like that.
There you go. So, thanks to our
I'm gonna
Shaw
start putting on
sponsor.
Blaze TV before I leave.
There you go.
Let her get red pilled for real.
All right, Dan's
Oh, I
just
got a
gonna
piece,
keep
so stop
talking.
Dan.
Yeah, you got to stop,
So we
man.
get out of
We're done. So, the guys, thanks so much for tuning in to the Driveway Liberty podcast. Thanks in advance for sharing this with your friends and subscribing to all of our channels on YouTube.
Patreon.com/Driveway Liberty Podcast.
Yep,
The
Patreon.
Driveway Liberty Podcast.
Not at Patreon. It's
Patreon is
just Driveway.
Driveway.
Yep. Yep. But to advertise, it's thedrivewaylibertypodcast.com/advertise. With that being said, for Travis and Dan, I am your Uncle Wes, and we will see you next time on the Driveway Liberty Podcast.
You are